Hey everybody, Rodham here. Thanks for tuning in to the Philosopher King, a vanilla RimWorld royalty series where we play as a benevolent ruler. If you need a recap of the rules and goals, they're also in the description of the video. Pause if you need to read them in detail. And a reminder that this is a choose your own adventure series, meaning that every other week there will be public polls for all of you to vote on, prioritizing different projects, adding or removing rules or goals as long as it stays within the theme of the series. So picking up where we left off, I do have a bunch of tips for you all. One is from Psalm. He mentions, as you can see here, the beds are no longer valid. They're no longer valid surfaces to sit on while doing research and the like. Included in the series, you might notice that two things happened. One is that benches, like workbenches, stonecutter table, etc., they can't share chairs. So as you see, it used to be valid to put a bench like this and just have one stool or chair in the middle to service both of them, and that is no longer the case. Also, beds don't work either. Another one, Vaughn mentioned, well, Vaughn and like everybody else, mentioned about the foods. I didn't select insect. I selected iguana. This is something I constantly do. So here we are. Oh no, iguanas. Guys, did you prank me? I think that might have been in the raw food here for the meat. Yes, okay, there we are. Other tips. Everybody should not haul anymore. To change it quickly like this, if you hold Shift, you can right and left click to change the whole stack of priorities, making it a lot faster. I did install a mod to show Celsius and Fahrenheit together. It's literally the only mod that this entire series is running. So that I'm American, but pretty much everybody else in the entire world now appreciates that I have both. And then one last tip, or two last tips. Anthony mentioned that I should rename the faction the Republic. So it is now, in reference to Plato's The Republic, where he theorized sort of an ideal society run by benevolent rulers. We are not role-playing as if we're Greek or anything like that. It's just an homage. And then the last one from Orange Chaos, mentioning if I drop the temperature of these... Actually, let's reset them. If I drop the temperature of these coolers, if I do have a solar flare or something like that, we might be able to keep the food from spoiling longer if we have a ton of... if we've got a ton of, cold air in there to sort of thwart. So we're picking up where we left off. We do have our dining room. This currently is serving as a kitchen or as a workshop and research lab and all that stuff. We are going to make it prettier. To speed up the process of stone cutting, I'm going to grab some tool cabinets. So we have a pretty limited amount of meat right now. It would not be a bad idea to spread some meat around, meaning to hunt for it. So right now, Zero is going to deconstruct some of the local ruins with his unbelievable skilled construction. He has very, very high manipulation due to being a trauma savant. So next big things would be individual bedrooms. Bubbaloo here doesn't yet require anything as from a yeoman. He's not requiring any sort of throne room or anything like that. I did get questions about what Whoa, there is a bunch of columns over here. What I plan to do in terms of psi. So the psionics, I do intend to get Bubbaloo as high rank as possible. And I will add psionics to the other characters, but not to the point where they demand anything. So we are currently beer brewing. I'm hoping to add in some beer growing zones. And then another thing I wanted to do is to sort of wall off the farm territories to keep it safe from animals, because animals can eat the crops, and I don't really want them to. So right now, Zero is cranking out some dusters for all of us. As you can see, he's also sort of our chief crafter. Mathis is hunting additional does, and Yanshui is butchering them. We've got a decent amount of marble blocks. I do have this looming ancient danger to my east. I'm not planning on opening it up anytime soon, but to know it is there is important. So going into my plan menu, I can plan out some bedrooms. So if we have our dining room here, we're going to need an area, a very healthy and large area that is both workshop and storage. Usually what I do is, and I'm doing this in marble tile just so it looks nicer, I'm going to actually let the marble tile run across this farm, covering up some of the rich soil. I'm adding some marble tile so that we can outline the farm more easily and then plan to build around it. So I'll probably put in 4x4 bedrooms. 4x4 bedrooms are, you know, efficient. Space efficient for the quality that they offer. At this very moment, it looks to me as if I'm going to need to disassemble some, or create some marble blocks. That is really what we're missing. And then get the rest of the dusters created. Yanshui is already wearing some. We are heading into summer. Now, I don't believe our summers get too hot on this map tile. In fact, I don't think I generated the planet at all, so I apologize. So checking the terrain here. We get up to, we get up to 82. So we're probably not going to need cowboy hats or anything that keeps us warmer. Or cooler, rather. So I'm not going to worry about that. So scanning the map tile, let's see if there's any other constructed ruins that we can utilize. Ideally, because we are benevolent and I want things to be beautiful, marble will be our building of choice. So there's some steel and limestone, but not a whole lot of marble. Now what we could do out of this, the other stone is to create art projects with it. And use the marble primarily for construction. Again, it will also seem to mimic, you know, Roman Colosseum-like. So, one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause when satisfied and unpause the cooking queue at 3. That way, we aren't constantly returning to the kitchen. We just do it in large batches. We just had some cargo pods from Randy Random Merciless. That's the Storyteller. Drop some Neutronium on me, and that sounds pretty good to me. So Yanshui should be, yes, she is planting our farms. Looks like I had one little misclick here, so let's cover that up. Alright, Mathis, I do believe that's enough hunted wildlife. In fact, I believe that was the last one ever queued up. So now you should be stone cutting, or rather you will be once that you're done. Another thing I could do is the electric tailor bench. We could get this bench a little bit closer to the tool benches so that we benefit from the tool cabinets for the increased speed. And that way we are working as fast as we are able. And instead, we will move the beds away. There we go. And then we can rearrange things. So Zero is tiling up everything quite nicely. And we'll get a very clean outline of our farming zone. The next thing I want to do is to start working on the standalone beds. And I think what I'm going to do is actually move it a little bit lower than my my plan is here. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to have a road here, and we'll keep it nice and illuminated. And these will be our bedrooms. And I think what I'm going to do is the bedrooms are going to be attached so that they can share walls for resource efficiency. And we aren't going to build Bubbaloo's bed here yet, because Bubbaloo is going to... He has different needs for the bedroom than the rest of them. He's going to have a throne room, so that has different requirements. It would not surprise me if we get some relationships here as well. So beer brewing is done. I'm going to pause it just a second here. So, smithing would be a very nice thing to get, pushing towards the gun turrets. So that will be my next choice, is get some smithing up. Alright, I'm going to have Mathis move some of these beds. I also could aim to have higher quality beds. One is normal, the rest are good. Actually, we have 4 good ones, just one is a is set to be a hospital bed. You are stargazing. I'll allow it. So the individual bedrooms will be really nice. Another thing I would like to do is to have some sort of central heating and cooling. So these bedrooms are going to connect to my crafting room, which will probably be down here. Eventually maybe annexing this area for double strand and like. It's always nice to have a very large swath. Ideally, we would not need to invest in... in hydroponics, because we live in a pretty temperate zone, and we have a lot of fertile soil at our disposal. Alright, Mathis, I'm going to have you quickly move these things around. So I'm just making it a little bit prettier for Bubbaloo. And then I can move these around so that they don't get in the way as much. There. And now we have a sort of a larger zone to keep our stuff in. And I'm hoping for the quest for Randy Random to send me some fun quests my way. We've got a mad alpaca. Alright, well, I can deal with that. Yanshui, I'm going to disallow sowing. So the mad alpaca is to our northeast. Coming in pretty hot, actually. So we don't get any injuries, I'm going to conscript both of my bolt-action rifle people and get them to hunt the alpaca. This won't be an issue at all. Already shot it in the head twice. Neat. So in fact, what I think I'm going to do is design this base to be a little bit like a compound. And we will treat the original 4 settlers a bit like celebrities. I'm not saying that we treat anyone not equally, but... Alright, let's disallow sowing, so... Oop, no, that's not what I meant to do. Disallow sowing so that Yanshui cuts these trees down and gets them out of Zero's way. Okay, now we can allow sowing again. And this bedroom is just about ready to go. Other nice features that I could do is to have things like marble braziers to spice up the rooms a bit. So, Zero, you're going to take this first bedroom. I mean, you built it. So the marble braziers are just sort of fancier torches. And they don't act as gather spots, but they will keep the rooms a little bit warmer as well. They don't produce a whole lot of heat, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. So there's our first dull bedroom, but still a bedroom nonetheless, and we will work on the other ones. Babaloo, the benevolent leader, is going to be the last one to get a bedroom. Now, another thing I need to work out is probably a very large, I don't want to call it a prison, because it will be sort of like a field hospital of sorts. We intend to release or recruit everybody that we cross paths with. So I need some sort of way... Oh, it is formally summer. I need some sort of way to deal with the influx of prisoners. So I'm going to need a large prisoner hospital so that we can treat them and release them if we don't want them, or recruit them if we think they have skills that will benefit the colony, the Republic. So the next big step is to get a room dedicated to... Oh, Yanshui, you should be cooking. Let me check this priority. Oh, we are out of power. That would explain it. Okay. There she is cooking. Here's another bedroom. So Mathis, you're going to be taking this one. Oh, no, I meant to build copy there. There we are. Alright, and then Yanshui, I want you to cut down some trees in the local area, build up our wood supply. We have a paltry amount of wood, and that's easy to replace in this forest here. Alright, let's build the brazier so that we can more quickly work on this dresser. And this is bedroom number 2. So as you can see, these braziers here have a full season of fuel. So Mathis, this is yours. So that it does last a very, very, very long time. Another good thing would be to move this. I'll just move this. Let's change the positions of these to have them be identical. All right, we're going to move the hospital bed down here. And we're working on yet another bedroom. I'm going to start laying out the pathing. I like to add pathing around my farms. It's expensive, it's a long-term investment, but it does allow you to traverse the perimeter quickly. And then sometimes I even create paths through it. Yes, it ruins some of the... Well, it doesn't ruin the fertile soil, but it does cover up the fertile soil. But it allows you to move across more easily like that. So I'm actually going to do that here. So this zone here is going to shrink. And this zone will expand. If you add enough room in between, it actually thwarts blights as well. Not that this is designed to thwart blights, but when your farm is crowded, you are very vulnerable to the blights. So right now, I don't have any available quests. I just have the historical one of the Jittery Countess. I am hoping to gain some world favor. Now, there's no real way for me to trade with any of my neighbors. It requires a title of Knight or Dame, which I am not. So it's going to be a little while until I can trade for rep, unless they show up. Now, one of the difficulties of the settings I have here is that if we were playing like an evil ruler, you can give a prisoner to tax collectors or royal favor collectors, and it's 3 favor per prisoner, which is actually a lot. I would not be surprised if they change this in the future and make it less profitable, because it is very profitable to capture prisoners and turn them over for favor, surprisingly so. I'm going to make another stone cutter. It does look like marble might be a bit of our bottleneck here. I'm using a ton of it. So here's another bedroom, and this one's going to Yanshui. And then Bubbaloo has the last bedroom. He's our leader, but he wants everybody to be comfortable. So the idea is he takes the last one, because he cares about everybody else. That's what a good ruler does. Lifts up everybody. Alright, so here's the very pricey investment of the pathing. And then some nice features would be like a brazier out here, just for nice nighttime, illumination. I might put one here as well, and one here, just so that at night we can move around. There's a pretty steep movement penalty for darkness. So the more you illuminate around your base, the better. I know I could be doing this with electric, but there's something pretty about braziers. Whereas, the standing lamps just don't have it. Now, if in some time in the future I find myself truly strapped for wood, I'll replace it with lights. Maybe colored lights. But we're not at that point yet. We have plenty of wood around. So down here, what I'm doing is laying out the initial foundations for sort of a crafting room. And I'm trying to share as many walls as possible, because eventually what I will do is create a venting system so that I have like central air. So a group of travelers are passing by. You have Carol and Corsi. They are from the Arvibum faction. Look at the Arvibums. They're the Civil Outlander Union. Definitely potentially good allies, so I should aim to befriend them at some point. They don't even have things worth trading, so not this time around, but definitely sometime in the future we will we'll try to make some friends here. All right, another thing I want to do is copy and paste. So there was no ingredient radius on these stone cutters, so we will travel far and wide to cut the stone to build our beautiful faction base. So Zero, I'm interested in what he is working on. If there aren't construction projects he's able to do because he can't afford it with the stone, he'll probably start stone cutting himself. Let's make sure it is... Yes, he will. Perfect. Now, King Bubbaloo, I do believe we'll give you a little bowler hat. We'll make sure this bowler hat's made out of... Let's give you a little camel hide bowler hat. I should get some head coverage for everybody else, not because of temperature, but it does offer a teeny bit of armor. So we'll have a bowler hat for Bubbaloo. Eventually, I'll have to change outfits here, so that there's like royal outfits and everybody else. One thing to do is to make sure that nobody is wearing tattered stuff automatically by saying 51% or greater. That way, if it's tattered, they drop it. And then also you can say no tainted apparel. However, in the case of a few of our guys, Mathis and Zero don't care about tainted apparel, so that's not much of a problem. So here's Bubbaloo's little happy bowler hat. He likes it. He likes it a lot. And then Yanshui and Zero, let's make cowboy hats. I will queue 2 up of those. We'll make them out of plain leather. Okay, there's another brazier. So these little bedrooms are mediocre. They're almost all identical. I don't know why one is... Oh, the end table is slightly better. Good, normal, normal. Alright. That's why one is slightly better than the other. So we've almost got smithing. And smithing is going to allow us to construct an electric smithy. One thing I'm going to do is forbid the western path in lieu of getting a proper crafting area. So what I will do is the next few bedrooms I'm going to make are going to be laid out like this. Sort of a tight dormitory where they share a bunch of walls. And then we're going to have some paths here. So I am going to add in a door here. And marble walls like this. And this will be our... maybe a little bit wider. This will be our workshop. It's big. But that's going to allow for... you know, roomy shelving for materials and stuff like that. So, the next research I want to do is machining. Machining doesn't specifically unlock very much on its own, but it does lead to a bunch of other really nice research. Flak armor is probably one of the first things I'm really going to push towards, because flak armor keeps us safe. Alright, Yanshui, I'm going to have you queue up to cut all the plants that are in the way here. Except for you, right now are on a tree cut. That's totally fine. We're starting to have to go pretty far and wide for the marble. It wouldn't be a terrible idea to work on getting some pets. So Mathis has some decent animal handling. Ideally, I would want a pet that can haul but doesn't generate a lot of filth. So let me explain what that is. If you look at, let's say, look at this cougar, there will be an animal filth rate. The more domesticated an animal is, the less filth they generate. So because haulers tend to need access to inside stockpiles, you don't want an animal that generates a lot of filth. So for instance, a donkey here. A donkey is able to haul, trainability is advanced, so it can haul, but it generates some filth. If I want animals that don't generate filth, it would really have to be red foxes, perhaps, don't generate too much filth. So I'm going to try to train 2 of the red foxes. Now, it does put Mathis in a little bit of a bind, because he then has to walk up to wild foxes and attempt to tame, and they could try to harm him as a result. But I think it's worth the risk. He's relatively skilled, and they have a pretty low chance of seeking revenge. Now, if you're curious about that, if you go to the Red Fox's info, and you take a look, the minimum handling skill to try to tame them is 7, because they have a wildness of 75%. And then on top of that, you've got their diet, their pain shock threshold, which is pretty typical, their carrying capacity, so they're able to haul 41 of a stack at a time. And then if you check out this percent here, this is the seek revenge if harmed, which is really, really low. It means that if we fail to tame, it's a 1.3 chance, and if we harm them, it's a 2% chance. They're not that likely to try to harm us if we screw up somehow. Now, I think everybody is sleeping in the heat. Yes, they are. So this is exactly what I mean by keeping everyone cooler. Now, I know we have braziers, so it's a little strange, but I'll add in some vents that bridge between the two. Right now, I would say 0 because of your manipulation speed. You're going to be our miner. So we've actually got a ton of steel. We just haven't hauled it. And we'll cool off these bedrooms. Well, actually, it's not that hot right now. Oh, but he did it anyway. Alright, let's add in the vents. And we can work on that in the future. So here's another quest. A non-traditional trade. So, a nearby settlement, I'm just going to call it Mocha, is asking for 310 cloth. I gain royal favor, and it will take me about 1.2 days to get there. I absolutely want to do this. This seems very fair. I have a bunch of cotton plants that are about to mature, so it's actually not even, I don't even really need to do very much. What I would need to do is to get travel food. So I'm going to quickly retool Bubbaloo, stopping machining and working on pemmican so that I can make meals for the road. My regular meals will spoil because it's 80 degrees out, so it's going to be important to create meals that won't spoil too quick, and pemmican is exactly that. It is a primitive ration that allows you to travel with it, where it takes a long time to spoil. Alright, we'll still stone cutting. This is going to be one gloriously beautiful workshop. Making it in marble. I think, if possible, I want to make everything out of marble. It's a weak stone, so definitely not external walls, but everything else. So here, as you can see, this is the cloth harvest. Alright, I'm going to focus on getting the external walls done first, and then working on the inside flooring. The external walls will keep plants from regrowing there. I'm periodically having Yanshui haul the cloth indoors. And then once I have some pemmican, I'm going to have Bubbaloo deliver it. Now, it is a trade request, so whomever goes to deliver it gets the favor. So if I had 2 people go to deliver it, I'd have to pick between the 2. In fact, I think it is very necessary for Bubbaloo to be escorted. He is, as a reminder, a wimp. So if he gets even touched a little bit, he's going to collapse. Wimps are very, very bad caravaneers for that reason. They're very delicate, let's say. So taking a look at the terrain I live around, there isn't really any clear choke points. So when I want to create, if I want to create security, what I'm likely going to have to do is to design my base as sort of a castle-like structure. So what I'm going to do right now is, just let Bubbaloo research. Bubbaloo, you are going to research over clean. Mathis, you are going to clean over craft. So Mathis is going to keep the research room clean. If this research room gets dirty, it will slow down the speed of research, which isn't all that helpful. Because the research bench here has a research speed factor, but based upon the room cleanliness. So we're researching at 74 at a 75% speed for that reason. Now, I do have the ability to crank out an electric smithy. There's not a whole lot I'd want to smith right now, but I'll build it anyway. I also have a brewery. I'm going to put the brewery... It does suffer a cold penalty, but I'm going to put the brewery in our kitchen here. Because we are going to make the wort down there. Now, there's 2 rare thrumbos. Thrumbos are very, very powerful creatures. But they have a lot of wealth. They have, their leather's amazing, and their horns are valuable. So, if I think I'm able, I ought to attempt to down them. So what I'm going to do is to create a temporary Thrumbo trap. Oop, that's not what I meant to do. So that I might be able to capture myself a Thrumbo. So let's go ahead and do that. That's what that is going to require is it's going to require a considerable amount of steel. I'm going to make a deadfall path. So these aren't where the traps are going to be built, they're just where I'm going to construct them. I don't have a whole lot of time to do this, so... Zero is hauling steel the brewery. I might need to find... So yeah, there's some paved tile down there that I might be able to reclaim their materials. Okay, well we have the brewery. I'm currently not, sowing any hops or anything like that. Oh, this is a field smithy? Oops. Let's break that down. I meant to have it be electric smithy, but I could use the steel here. So what I could do is install the traps down here. When we're ready to go, and drag the Thrumbo through this here and get them to trigger the traps. So I'm just laying them out the way I want them. Now, Zero, what I want you to do is let's find steel structures like this one. I'm going to create a new zone and order you to be here so that we can deconstruct the stuff that is steel for materials. These vases also, yeah, they're steel. And the columns are as well. There's a lot of steel up in here. Even a lot of the flooring is steel as well. Alright, and then I'm also going to restrict you, Zero, so that you are just awake. This will cause a little bit of a mood dip, but it's a very fine way of getting a lot of work done quickly. Another quest? Costumos Mechs. So, it's a Praetor making a request. Mechs have been attacking his colony, his settlement, and what will happen is he'll send 3 allies to help me defend against his mechs. I have 7 days to accept this quest. I intend to. You know, an ally calls for aid. Seems a very good reason to help, but I need to prepare a little bit, because that is not necessarily a very easy thing to do. So, Zero, you're no longer restricted. Let's have you haul some steel. And then I will put you back on normal scheduling, so you can sleep. There's a psychic drone low. Alright. So come morning time, I'm going to attempt to take out some Thrumbo. I'm a very busy guy now, huh? we have a lot of cloth. One of the advantages of all this cloth will be I'll be able to make recreation. Okay, so we also have some cargo pods of smoke leaf and slag. The original Naturamine, I don't believe we ever got either. So Bubbaloo, actually Mathis, I'm going to have you go haul that. I don't want the Naturamine decaying out here for no reason. It's a very important resource to make medicine with and other drugs. So I don't want to fight both Thrumbo at once, so I'll have to be careful about how I go about fighting them. They're also faster than me, so I don't want to be run down and stomped to death by them either. It's definitely a gamble. If Thrumbo were easy to kill, they wouldn't be valuable. So I am adding my farm to the home zone so that if I end up getting like a lightning strike or some sort of fire, or if raiders set it on fire, because raiders do love to set your farms on fire, we will put the fires out automatically. Alright, so here, Zero is building traps for us. And I'm going to have him haul. Mathis, you'll haul. I'm trying to... We have so many little projects right now. Let's not bother sewing the rest of this cotton. We have a lot of cloth right now as well. We did just get the pemmican research, so that's going to allow us to travel further distances without having our meals spoiled. We probably could have done it the trip without pemmican, because we could bring something valuable and sell it once we're there. Alright, so what I want to do is create my kill tunnel a little bit longer. I'm going to get... Let's see, how fast do you guys run? 436. Alright, so Yanshui and Mathis. The only danger here is that Thrumbo, yeah, well, there's a lot of dangers here. I also don't have decent doors that could tank Thrumbo. So I'm setting up the traps from the inside out so that we don't have to step over them. I'm trying to do this as quick and efficiently as I can. Everybody's going to be involved. Bubbaloo is kind of our secret weapon. Not that he realizes it, because he does have the ability to stun. So the idea here is... nope, Bubbaloo. Wrong way. The idea here is to to make this Thrumbo... Yes, the two Thrumbo are very far apart from one another. So make this Thrumbo that is close to me hostile, and then to have Bubbaloo try to stun it. And then if we have to flee, we flee to here. So let's go ahead. We're opening fire. And terribly, terribly missing. Okay, there we go. The Thrumbo is very hostile. And now Bubbaloo is going to use his psychic abilities to keep this Thrumbo at bay. Let's go ahead and set up the shooters to get where they need to be. And hopefully it won't just bash down that door. It's going to go around and path to us through the traps. Another thing I could do is to quickly construct a little bit of light here so that we can see what we're doing. So this Thrumbo... Is it taking the bait? It is. Here it goes. So I don't want it using my deadfall traps if I can help it, so I'm going to keep trying to stun it on its path here. As you can see, it's about half dead. And there it goes. So we used half the traps. Now the other issue is it's pretty late in the day, and our bedrooms are covered in deadfall traps. So that's one dead Thrumbo. We could try for the other one. But I'm probably going to want to replace some of these traps that I've used. So what I will do is create... Actually, let's just... Might be easier to uninstall the ones I have down now. I'm probably not going to get around to the killing the Thrumbo, the other Thrumbo, tonight. But that's one dead Thrumbo, use of both psychic abilities and deadfall traps and my shooters. So this stockpile zone is going to be called Brewery. And this will be a important zone for wort and hops. And that actually is about all the time I have for this episode, guys. So I hope you'd appreciated it. For all the people that supplied tips and tricks and feedback to me, I really appreciated it. So if you have any feedback for me, please just leave it up in the comments or hop on the Discord channel. If you want to join Discord, the link is at radamont.com. Also a reminder to all of the patrons that the submission is for the Choose Your Own Adventure is on Discord as well. So if you have ideas for goals and rules and changes and all that kind of sort of thing, hop on Discord if you're a patron from patreon.com, and you can submit those ideas here. And then in about 2 weeks' time, you guys will see a poll allowing you to vote on those ideas. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll catch you all next time. Adios, friends.